In this video, I will show you how you can build insane body weight strength using locomotion flow ground-based movement techniques. When it comes to building strength, I think we can all agree that doing things like push-ups, calisthenics, and lifting weights are highly effective for building strength. But what we tend to see with these linear-based movement patterns is everything stays in a nice, neat alignment. This weekend, I just helped my brother-in-law move house up 3 flights of stairs carrying large sofa beds, big TVs, and I can tell you that life is not linear. Now, I've personally trained some very strong men that are very strong in this bench press push-up position, but I take them 5 degrees off axis either way, and they become much, much weaker. We start to add in crawling patterns like our lizard crawls, and all of a sudden, we start to sort the men from the boys. So today we'll look at horizontal pushing strength. I'm going to offer you a locomotion alternative to your classic push-ups. Second, we're going to look at your straight arm pushing strength. I'm going to offer you some alternatives to your classic handstand push-ups. And thirdly, something for the legs that gets you out of just the regular old squat and off axis. Now, when it comes to horizontal pushing strength, maybe you've already built up a nice push-up. Maybe you've also started to play around with some gymnastic style strength training, started working on things like this, the bent arm planche. However, in locomotion, ground-based movement, we can use the lizard crawl. So let's just take a look at the lizard crawl. The reason I love this shape so much is because we're on one arm at a time. Whether we're pressing down or we're staying high, we'll need to be able to shift from side to side and transfer the weight into one shoulder at a time. It's essentially combining a number of one-arm push-ups into movement. My favorite entry into the lizard crawl is to reach across the body sideways, nice and long. Then you're in this lunging position. From here, you can start your crawl so that the knee comes up behind the elbow. You might like to just start by keeping the elbow straight at first. Once that feels comfortable, you can start to add a press, like a push-up. If that's feeling comfortable, you can try staying down low. Reach. Once you're able to do the low lizard, there's also inverted low lizards where we lower down, step under, like so. Next, let's look at your vertical press with the shoulders. So maybe you've tried this or some military press in the gym. However, you might have even started working on press floats, this sort of stuff. But what I like to do with it is turn it into movements like this, where we start to be able to float the body with this inside sweeping action. Is just one example of how I can begin to float my body using that vertical pressing strength. So if we break that one down nice and slow, we're reaching across the body, plant the hand. The other hand is shoulder width apart. The outside foot, as you push into the floor, will hop through, plant opposite the other hand, and then the outside foot will land back in to your low squat. Back the other way, reaching across the body, the hand goes down, sweeping on the front side of the back leg, the outside leg, my other leg comes around, and I return to my low squat. Now we can add to this with a pivot or a sweep, where we are reaching across, lifting, and turning to face the other way. So back the other way, I'm reaching, inside sweep, landing, hooking around, facing the other way. Let's do one from behind. I'm reaching, like so, 180 degree turn off the end of that inside crab sweep. So just remember with these, we're trying to float for as long as we can. And we do that by pushing the floor away, and floating the feet. Maybe you get those little trembles. That means you're really working hard to defy gravity, slow gravity down, and float your way through the patterns. Remember in PE when they wouldn't let you put your knees past your toes when you did a squat and you had to do this weird, unnatural sort of squat thing to stay safe? Well, I'm gonna break all the rules now, because life doesn't work that way, does it? Whether you're out on the sports fields doing your thing, or you've got to get down low and move furniture like I was on the weekend, the knee will travel past the toes. So I want to play with a move called the swipe. Now, for the swipe, you'll need to have some concept of the sissy squat. To do a sissy squat, you want to be up on the toes, lock the hips out, glutes are on, bending down like this, come back up, go again. Now, you don't have to do a full knees to the ground sissy squat to do the swipe, because we will be one hand in our sissy squat on the ground, and we're going to attempt to send the weight into the toes so that we can swap hands. Think of break dancers here. I'm accepting the weight into my toes so I float in order to make the switch. That's why they call it the swipe. Maybe they should call it the switch. If you've been following along, you'll now have a sense of what that horizontal pushing feeling is like in our lizard, what the vertical pressing feeling was like with our inside crab sweep, and also now what the quads feel like in that sissy squat position with our swipe. Here comes the fun part. Let's combo those three things together. We'll start with our inside crab sweep into our swipe into our inverted lizard. We can switch it, go for our forward lizard, recover into low squat. Another option, if you're having trouble with that inverted lizard entry, will be to go from our crab sweep, swipe into a rolling lizard entry. From there, I went off camera, didn't I? Okay, we'll try that one again from a different angle. We have the inside leg, crab sweep, swipe. Now I recover into my lizard from there. So a good way to train this, once you've drilled each piece in isolation, then you've worked your combinations. I would just do sets of 3 to 5, have a little break in between, then put your timer on for 60 to 90 seconds and just keep moving with those patterns non-stop. So you're just going to keep moving. And we just keep going and going and going for the prescribed time. You're getting insane strength work here while flowing, while being fluid, while being creative, while expressing all of this beautiful strength you've been building up over time. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, drop me a comment. If you want to take a deeper dive on all this stuff, check out my online course, Locomotion Flow 3.0, and goes into much more detail on all this stuff and more. I'll see you in the next video.